Hi, welcome back to the channel. It's our first Dunkin' run! Yay! 3, 2, 1, go! Alright, we're actually about done with our Dunkin' run. Heading back. Here's Emily. Hey. She's hanging with me. I don't like running in the dark, so. So this is week 1 of 10K training. You kind of know this. So I am training for the Express Your Superpower 10K at, what is that place? Canton. Yes. Yeah. It's early. And my goal is to get a perfect time, which I think I did the math. I need to get a 9:50 pace to get that perfect time. You can do it. I can do it. No problem. So, all right, we're about back here. We're gonna get some Dunkin' Donuts. So I got a cooler and a strawberry dragon fruit green tea, and I've got my donut shorts. This is just a perfect 5 a.m. morning. And coffee. I have coffee. Happy Friday. And this week is not really what I wanted for week 1 of training, both video-wise and just training-wise. Sadie, who's in the back there, we've been dealing with some stuff with her. Not anything that she's in pain from, but just weird issues that I wouldn't think she should have at such a young age. So I've had so much anxiety this week over that. And I told my husband, when I get this anxious, it hurts, and I just don't feel like doing anything. And my appetite's been off because of that, and so I've had no energy. Yeah. So, but as you saw, we did a donut run on Wednesday, and I honestly don't even remember what I did earlier this week. But I have ran almost every day, if not every day. Whether it was anything of substance kind of annoys me, because sometimes it doesn't really feel like that. Yesterday I did a 45-minute boot camp on the tread, which I enjoyed. That's usually what I go to when I'm like, I need to run, and I have to run on the tread. And I also have to do weights, but I don't feel like doing any of that. So that's when I go to those Peloton boot camps. And I tell you what, I think it's only $15 a month or something like that for Peloton on your phone. And I use that thing all the time. So if you don't already do that and just want a really easy way, classes to do, weights and things like that, I love the boot camp. So that's what I did yesterday, and today is actually very exciting because right now I'm taking the dogs to the kennels because we are going out of town tomorrow, which I'll talk about at the end of the video. But after I drop them off at the kennel, I'm actually going to the high school because school's back in session here, and I'm doing my first day as FCA. They call it character coach. I just call it being another support system for teams, but for the high school cross country team. So this will be my first year doing middle school and high school cross country, and I'm really, really excited. And that's where I'm going to do my running today. Unfortunately, according to the coach, I think they're running on the track, which is what I was hoping, because the track is nice and flat and it's warm. That's the one thing about our high school cross country. And middle school cross country, just cross country in general is, they always have practice after school in the afternoon when it is hot, so I give those kids props. So while I was on this little drive to drop off the dogs, I wanted to go ahead and talk about the first part of our week 1 in our Matthew West book. Hello, my name is. And I believe the chapter, obviously I don't have the book right in front of me, I believe the chapter is called You're My Best Friend. And he starts off telling a story, and I so related to the story because according to my mom, this is how I was when I was young. But one of his daughters, Lulu, who, side note, I'm pretty sure I saw on Instagram that Lulu started 12th grade this year, so that's super fun. But this story, I believe, is from kindergarten with Lulu, and they were really nervous about her starting kindergarten, starting, big kid school, and nervous how she was going to do. Dropped her off, had the day, picked her up, and she was just so excited, had the great first day, and was like, oh, I made a best friend, and we played, and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, well, what was your, what was this person's name? And Lulu apparently was like, well, I don't know, but they're my best friend. And according to my mom, I am very much like that. And so I appreciated that story very, very much. So let me get these dogs dropped off and get my run in with the cross country team, and we'll close out this video with the rest of Hello, My Name Is Chapter 1, You're My Best Friend. So I just got back home from my little FCA at the high school thing, and I was able to run a couple miles. And one of the things I told them when I was introducing myself was that I've always been so impressed by how cross country, they train in the middle of the afternoon and they race in the middle of the afternoon, and it is so hot. So I was only able to do a couple miles before I was like ready to go home. And I thought about trying to fit in a few more on the treadmill, but I got home and it's 4:34. It's not quite dinner time, but like I said earlier, my appetite has been way off, and I actually feel super hungry right now. So this week, I honestly feel it was kind of a failure because I didn't accomplish nearly what was on the training plan. And I looked up what I've done this week. Yesterday I did, like I said, the Peloton boot camp, and I got 2.3 miles in between doing the strength training. I had my Dunkin' run. I got 3 miles for that, and I did 2.5 miles with sprints on, I guess that's Tuesday. We'll go with Tuesday. And then Monday I just did a walk and a little bit of cardio in the house, and this is nowhere near what my first week of the 10K training was supposed to be. But thinking of it as a failure, as in everything that I've read, is not the best way to look at it. Is there areas where I can improve? Yes, but let's look at the successes. Getting to meet the high school cross country team today, even though it has nothing to do with training, I was very, very excited to do that. I did a lot of strength training this week, which is good. Sometimes I find it hard to do that, and I was able to do what I had planned for strength training, so that was good. And I got miles. Miles are miles, and it is week 1. I can't really let this type of attitude carry over into too many more weeks, but we'll do better next week. While I'm thinking about it, don't forget about my raffle for my St. Jude Half Marathon fundraising. I will be drawing for this September 30th, and it's Disney Cruise Line stuff. There's some other podcast stuff in there. There's some running. I got a little thing at noon in there. So please donate. It is 1 entry for $5, 3 entries for $10, and 8 entries for $20. And then if you donate more, I'll do the math for how many entries that is. So visit the link in the description, and please donate. I'm hoping to reach my goal with this last raffle. So to conclude our Hello, My Name Is for week 1. It's called My New Best Friend. That's what it's called. There was a quote that he put at the beginning that I wanted to read just because it's Pooh and Piglet talking. So I thought it was appropriate for, Disney audience. Piglet asks, "Are we going to be friends forever?" And then Pooh says, "Even longer." And I just thought that was so sweet. So I shared the story about Lulu. And then he goes into how, he has a best friend. Of course, he's talking about Jesus. And growing up, he, was fascinated with, stories about him and how powerful his name was, and everything you read in the Bible. And then he shares that he would be embarrassed to kind of share how many times he's lived his life as if he's forgotten his best friend's name and the power that name holds. And he says, "Come to think of it, the first day of kindergarten and every day since has been a challenge to do 2 things. Remember who I am and remember who my best friend is." says, Oscar Wilde wrote, most people are other people. Their thoughts are someone else's opinions, their lives a mimicry, their passions a quotation. How often do we do that? Especially middle and high school, we try to follow a trend that someone else, is doing. I did it all through high school. I tried to do what the popular kids did instead of just doing my own thing. And I think even adults do that too. We see, commercials. We see, in the running community, we're like, oh, we don't run as fast as that other person. Man, their pace is so good. Just, instead of just running our own race and, setting our own goals and not having any other person's goals have anything to do with our own. He says, sadly, I'm afraid there are times when we live that way. Perhaps this is because the journey that leads us to the core of who we really are requires a level of honesty that makes us feel uncomfortable. Yes. Oh, but we were born for that journey, and deep down we crave the freedom that is hidden behind the honesty it takes to find it. Not one of us aspires to be a replica, because we were never created to be a copy. Not Lulu the kindergartner, not me, not you, even identical twins. Okay. Not even identical twins. They have unique fingerprint patterns. And you were meant to leave your one-of-a-kind fingerprint on this life, this world. No one knows this better than our Creator. After all, each of us is His idea. And His idea to create you comes with a perfect plan. For I know the plans I have for you, plans for good and not disaster, to give you a future and a hope, Jeremiah 29:11. Don't know who you are? God does. Don't have a plan for your life? God does. Don't see any hope? God does. Don't see anything but disaster? God does. I love that, and there's a movie, it's Do You Believe? At the very end of the movie, he's talking about how, one day, while we're here on Earth, it's like we're watching someone make a tapestry, and we're only seeing one side of it. And, if you ever look at tapestries, the back of them, you see all the loose threads and, where the different colors changes, and it's, it's a little messy looking on the back side of a tapestry. And he relates that to what we see here on Earth. And then when we get to be with God forever, we're gonna look at the other side of the tapestry and see how everything that's ever happened in our life had a purpose and had a reason. And we get to see the whole beautiful masterpiece that He's made and the whole beautiful plan. Especially me, but I think a lot of people are like this, where we want to know now. I'm so much like that. It's hard for us to comprehend that there is something. We may not see it until the other side of heaven, but there's a reason why this is happening. We are who we are. People come into our life, leave our life, death. There's a reason for it all. Discovering our true identities does not begin by looking within ourselves, but by looking outside of ourselves to the one who made us. And there's no greater authority, I said this last week, there's no greater authority on your life than the one who gave you life. And He is the only one that's allowed to define us. I added that. He has some questions and things that he puts at the end of the chapters, I guess. So I will pose these. If Jesus is your best friend, how is it possible to forget His name and the power in that name? It's remarkably easy. I've even just for this week, I mentioned earlier that my anxiety has been so high this week that it makes me like physically hurt. And that's why my training has been completely off this week. I don't feel like doing anything. And it's for something really kind of small in comparison to, other worldly problems. My little fur babies mean a lot to me. They're, I don't have any kids of my own. I love my stepkids, Allison and Curtis, so much. They're grown and taking care of themselves now, so now I just got my two little dogs that I get to take care of. And I know that Sadie isn't in pain or anything, but to think that something is not quite right for her makes me sad. But everything will be okay. But there's moments, when my anxiety level shoots through the roof that I forget that God loves Sadie. I mean, he loves us most, but he created her too, you know? And it's remarkably easy to forget. When do you forget who you are and end up living someone else's life rather than the one God has for you? I do that a lot. I think it's kind of like a weird, I don't know if paradigm is the right word. But I have amazing friends, and a lot of them, you know, make me want to, you know, strengthen my relationship with God, because they seem like they got that aspect down and under control. And you got to be careful with that. It's okay to be inspired by people, but to not, you know, try to be exactly like them, because God made me the way I am for a reason. And maybe, you know, the fact that I worry and I'm anxious about things is a way, you know, like, I know it's why I'm married to the husband that I have, because he is the complete opposite, and he will remind me when I'm wrong and why I shouldn't be worrying about these silly things. Read Jeremiah 29:11. That was the verse that we read a minute ago. God says that he has great plans for you. How can you live in such a way that shows you believe that promise? When do you struggle to believe it? Everything I've said in the last 5 minutes. But yeah, that name. So that's basically the overarching theme for our week 1 is how powerful God's name is. And how easy it is to sometimes forget the power that he has, and that he defines who we are. Hope you enjoyed that. It's, you know, a lot of this is as much. I love sharing stuff like this, but it's just as much for me as it is for anyone that happens to be listening. So, I hope everyone is doing well. I hope everyone's training is going well for whatever you're training for. So, I mentioned going out of town. Today's Friday, so I had to cut my training week short anyways, which makes the fact that it didn't go very well this week even kind of worse, as I know I'm losing a day. But we're actually going to Florida, which would be exciting, except for the fact that the place in Florida we're going to, it has been getting repetitive excessive heat warnings, so I'm not sure how well running's going to work next week either. But the hotel that we're staying at has a gym, so I might just have to utilize that. So now next week, along with all of our normal hello, my name is, and everything else, we get to have a week training while traveling, which is always a bit of a challenge. So I will be taking you guys along, and we will be figuring out how to get in those miles and get in that strength training. So give this video a like, comment. Have you ever had a week not go your way? Because here we are. And I apologize if this is probably not the most exciting vlog. And like I said, not the way I wanted week 1 to go. But we press on, and we're just gonna, you know, when you're down here, you can go up. That's what we're gonna go with. Be sure to subscribe. Like I said, going to Florida, I got other things coming up that I'm really, really excited to share. And we're working our way towards, you know, drawing for a raffle in my 10K proof of time race. Always remember that you are God's masterpiece, and I'll see you next week.